Have you ever thought about what happens to a great story when it crosses a border? You know, when an ancient epic, something loved by millions, gets picked up by a whole new culture? Well, it changes, it adapts, and sometimes it becomes this whole new thing, while still feeling, well, wonderfully familiar. Today, we're diving into one of the world's greatest stories and its incredible journey.
So, on one hand, we've got the Valmiki Ramayana, the foundational Hindu epic straight from India. And on the other, we have the Ramayan, which is Thailand's magnificent national epic. Now, they both tell the story of Prince Rama and his quest to rescue his wife Sita, but wow, do they do it in some fascinatingly different ways. We're going to zoom in on one specific part of the story, the intense feud between the two monkey kings, Vali and Sugriva. It's a tale of betrayal, misunderstanding, and ultimately death. But how that story plays out, well, it tells you everything you need to know about the cultures that tell it. So, the big question is, why? Why are these two versions so dramatically different? All right, here's our roadmap for breaking down this ancient rivalry. First, we're going to see how the whole fight even gets started. Then we'll get into the super controversial death of a king and see how the army finally gets put together. And after a really surprising moment where the two stories link back up, we'll tackle that big question. Why did they ever split in the first place? Okay, first up, the origin of the conflict. And right out of the gate, we see this huge difference. Is this a story about a tragic human mistake? A simple misunderstanding? Or is it all about an inescapable, multi-generational cosmic curse? In the original Indian epic, the Valmiki Ramayana, the story is pretty direct. You've got these two brothers, Vali and Sugriva, who are super close. But then, Vali chases a demon into a cave and tells his little brother to wait outside. Sugriva waits for over a year. Finally, he sees bloody foam coming out of the cave. Thinking his brother is dead, he seals the entrance with a huge boulder to trap the demon and goes back home, where he's made king. But then Vali returns, furious, seeing it all as the ultimate betrayal. See? It's all driven by very human emotions and a terrible misjudgment. The Ramayan, though, it is not satisfied with just a simple misunderstanding. It weaves this far more intricate, fated narrative that actually starts generations earlier. Okay, get ready for this, because it's a heck of a backstory. It all starts with a divine guard who gets cursed by a god to be reborn as a water buffalo named Tarapa. And the curse has a very specific out. He can only be freed if he's killed by his own son. So what does Tarapa do? He kills all his male kids, until one, Tarapi, is hidden away. Tarapi grows up, fulfills the prophecy by killing his dad, and then gets super arrogant. The gods get annoyed and point him in the direction of the mighty monkey king, Bali. That's the battle that finally leads them into the cave. So this is where it all comes to a head. In the Ramayan, before Bali goes into the cave, he gives his brother, Sugriva, very specific instructions. He says, if the blood flowing out is dark, I've won. If it's light, I'm dead. So Bali goes in and kills Tarapi, whose blood is, you guessed it, dark. But just as fate would have it, it starts to rain. And the rainwater dilutes the dark blood, making it look light. Sugriva, just following orders, seals the cave, convinced his brother is gone. A simple mistake becomes a tragic, fated accident. And that brings us to the climax of this whole feud, the death of the king. It happens at the hands of Prince Rama, who has promised to help the exiled brothers, Sugriva, reclaim his throne. So here's this fun little narrative problem that both versions have to solve. During their first duel, Rama can't tell the identical brothers apart, so he can't take the shot. In the Valmiki Ramayana, the fix is a garland of flowers for Sugriva to wear. The Ramayan, though, uses a piece of Rama's own sacred cloth tied around Sugriva's waist. It's a small change, but it's a really telling local touch. Now, in the Indian epic, when Rama finally shoots Vali from a hidden spot, the dying king lays down this powerful moral challenge. He looks right at Rama and asks him why he acted so unjustly. And honestly, this moment is one of the most debated parts of the entire epic, because it forces you to really think about what's right and what's wrong. And this table just lays out the core difference perfectly. In the Valmiki Ramayana, Rama justifies what he did. He says it was a rightful punishment for Vali's sin of stealing Sugriva's wife. It was about restoring moral order. And Vali accepts it and dies. But in the Ramayan, Rama actually hesitates. And Bali, being this incredibly proud warrior, catches Rama's arrow, refuses an offer to be healed because it would leave a scar of shame, and then takes his own life. It's an execution for a moral crime, versus a proud warrior's suicide. Just wow. So, Sugriva is finally king. Now he's got to hold up his end of the bargain and help Rama find Sita. But things get delayed, and the reasons why couldn't be more different. The timeline here is just worlds apart. The Indian text has Rama waiting 4 long months for the monsoon to end. And all that time, Sugriva is just lost in the pleasures of being king again. But in the Thai version, Rama is way less patient. He only waits 7 days. And Sugriva's delay isn't because he's partying. It's because he's playing politics, trying to make sure his unstable kingdom doesn't fall apart. So how do you finally get Sugriva moving? Well, the two stories have very different answers. In the Ramayana, it's all raw emotion. A furious Rama sends his brother Lakshmana to basically threaten Sugriva into honoring his promise. The Ramakien, on the other hand, goes for political intrigue. There is a diplomatic visit, sure, but there's also this amazing subplot where Hanuman uses his magic to secure a key ally for their cause. It's much more complex. Okay, so the monkey armies finally start their search for Sita. And after all these big differences, you think the stories are on totally separate tracks. But then, something really beautiful happens. They find common ground. And that common ground comes in the form of this tragic, powerful story about 2 great vulture brothers, Sampati and Jatayu. This tale shows up in both epics, and it's like a bridge connecting the 2 traditions. What's amazing is that the core of their story is almost identical. When they were young, the brothers got cocky and flew way too close to the sun. To save his younger brother, Jatayu, the older one, Sampati, shields him with his own body. His wings get completely burnt up, leaving him unable to fly. It's this powerful act of brotherly sacrifice, and it resonates deeply in both cultures. But of course, even in this one shared story, there's a fascinating little twist. How does Sampati get his wings back? In the Valmiki Ramayana, a sage had prophesied that his wings would grow back the moment he helped Rama's search party. In the Ramakien, the prophecy is different. His wings will only return after Rama's army cheers for him 3 times. So one version is about fulfilling a holy man's word, and the other is about the collective power of the divine army. So cool. So we've seen the feuds start differently, the king die differently, the armies assemble differently. It all brings us back to our big question. Why? What is going on here? What it all boils down to is this. Each version of the story is like a mirror, reflecting the culture that's telling it. The Indian Valmiki Ramayana is deeply, deeply concerned with dharma. That's moral duty, cosmic order, and the consequences of your choices. The whole feud is a tragic result of human error. But the Thai Ramakien, it just loves a different kind of story, one that's packed with these detailed backstories, divine curses, and fated events. It elevates Bali from a flawed king into a proud, tragic hero, and throws in these uniquely Thai plot twists, like that fateful rain, to really make the story its own. Ultimately, this journey from the Ramayana to the Ramakien just shows us that stories aren't set in stone. They're living things. They breathe the air of the cultures that embrace them. And that kind of leaves us with a final thought to chew on. When we retell classic stories today, in our movies, our books, our shows, what are the changes that we make? And what do those changes say about who we are right now?